Oh ho ho ho! It's been 2 weeks, hasn't it been? For good reason. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kai. I just combined like 3 words into one there. My name is Cairo, and for the past 2 weeks I have been trying to use Linux instead of Microsoft's stupid brand. And so this video will basically be me explaining what happened for these 2 weeks essentially. And I'm not gonna try to sell it to you, but I'm gonna say like if I recommend it or not, or like what I think is a benefit, what I think are the withdrawals and stuff like that. So I've never used Linux or anything like that. I've pretty much been a Windows guy ever since I was literally a kid. Like the first PC I had probably was like, I want to believe Windows XP. You know, home family computer where you actually put CDs in the fucking disc tray to actually play video games. And I guess for the first point, what is my reason for even wanting to do this? Well, personality. I'm just wanting to try it just because I want to.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But that's not a good enough reason. So, the main reason I wanted to stop using Windows is I do sail the seas a bit. Yes, that is right. Every single Windows 10 copy I've had on my own PCs have all been pirated. Now, the only reason I had Windows 11 even was based on a pirated version of Windows. I just exported, so I got a free copy apparently. So the way you would think I do this is through PowerShell. You know, you just do the command and then boop key, boop, you get Windows 11. That's not actually what I did. So mainly the way I tried pirating Windows every time was like what I like to call the archaic way of doing it. So you just look up like Windows 10 Pro key, and then you would just get a bunch of keys that are just Windows 10 keys, and you trial them, you error them, you look at so many images, and eventually you find one that actually works. And so now you get the key, so you don't have to have the activate Windows or oh, you can't personalize shit. Fuck you, Microsoft. Because, yeah, I don't want to fucking buy Windows 11. Okay, that's stupid. It's so dumb in my opinion. So, you know, I put my sword down. I put my booty away. And now I don't want to pirate anymore. So Linux is that way. I don't want to pay 150 US to get a stupid key for your stupid software where you're gonna download shit onto, which is the next point. And this next point's just gonna be like a story a little bit. So when I was using my PC, I went into I already forgot the fucking name, Task Manager, and I saw this specific software just bloating my whole PC up, which I mistakenly called Animalware, but I think it was anti-malware. I'm gonna still call it Animalware though, because that's sick. So Animalware was just taking up so much CPU power, so much RAM power, and I was just trying to figure out how the fuck do you turn this off? I don't need it. I don't ever get malware. And plus, I don't think I don't think something that works in the background should be using like even more than 1% of my CPU, let alone a couple few. And so it wasn't like the main reason I wanted to move to Linux, but like stuff like that just proves how dumb Windows really is. And then finally, I just want to make my OS the way it should be, the way I want it to be. If I want to download a plugin, I'm gonna download that plugin and change my whole OS. Not just, change your wallpaper. Like, that's so dumb. Alright, so before I get into what happens in the coming days when I started 2 weeks from today, I feel like I'm gonna get somebody riled up based on what distro I choose. So I gotta be really careful. And now, it's time for everybody's favorite game show. What distro did Brandon pick? Woo! So if you don't know what distros are, here's an image really quickly that you will glance on. So what a distro is, and there's different variants of it, is that you have your main distro. So like up here is Arch, you have down here is like Fedora. I don't see it in front of me. I've got a big old fucking image in front of me. And then you got like your smaller ones as well. You got like some inside of some. And inside of those are also different ways of organizing your OS. It's like a platform if you want to really think of it. So you got 3 main ones, I think, unless I'm really wrong here. There's GNOME, KDE, and Hyperland. I think that's how you say it. And so what I'm saying based on distros is that I've chosen one of these, one specific, and then maybe one inside that organizes my whole OS. So I'll go in order of what distros I actually thought about, and then, go on from there. I did not fucking care about Arch. Fuck you. Yes, little Timmy, I know you're gonna come into the comments. I know you're gonna say, oh, Arch is so good, you're just a pussy for not calling. No, I don't want that. I don't want to work for fucking everything, okay? I'm a goddamn content creator. I don't want this shit. Like, congratulations, you can code more than the average person. Yeah, go touch some fucking grass, mate. I don't care. So, yeah, didn't consider Arch whatsoever. I'm glad I didn't. But I do have respect for you, actually, for using Arch. Honestly, I don't even know how you could live at that point. So now let's actually get into the ones I actually, went ahead and thought about. So first off, Linux Mint. And Linux Mint is Ubuntu. I don't even know if I butchered that. And it's like a generalized distro, but what I didn't like was it's just too bland. And like, nothing really dedicated to it. It's just, this is a distro. I want the Windows experience. Like, I want more. Me want more. So then I thought Pop OS. It's a little more gamey. It's a little more clean. It's polished. It's, gaming. I said that twice for a reason. But again, it's just too bleh. There's not really much to it, and nothing really pulling me in to want to use Pop OS. And the final one that I considered at all, and one that I was gonna go for maybe, was Bazite. Now Bazite, the reason I didn't choose it is very obvious for those who don't know, but for anyone who doesn't know, it's more of a console thing. So think your Steam Deck, for instance. It's more Steam Decky than desktop-y. Like, you can go and use the desktop, but that's not the main feature. You're gonna go into Steam OS and then proceed to play your games from there. So it'd be more of a pain in the ass if a game wasn't on Steam and I wanted to download it. So even though, and let me talk about this really quickly. Some of these marketing for these websites are so fucking good. But what I should recommend to you, if you're choosing a distro, is not to judge fully off of the website, because Bazite's website is so flashy compared to the one I chose, but you still need to double check it, right? Because there are still features that one website won't tell you, but then, you know, they don't have it themselves, and you know, like, you get my point though. So finally, what did I choose as my distro? Nobara. And I feel like any Linux person coming to my channel right now, they go to my channel, they see, why haven't you subscribed yet? Why haven't you subscribed? You know, like, you see that fucking trailer, and then you're like, oh no! I'm gonna get shot! No, I need to subscribe. That is not what anybody does. No, nobody on the face of the planet has ever done that. But you would see, I'm just a gaming content creator. Nobara is a gaming content creation OS. Oh my god! No, there is more reasons for me to choose it. Fedora is pretty good from what, like, all the Fedora products seem to be on my note whenever I looked at good operating systems, I guess. They got easy terminal commands and they got pretty easy stuff, and, you know, Nobara just takes that and makes it more focused on one thing. And finally, I want to say, I don't have an AMD CPU, nor do I have an AMD GPU. But yeah, there was more reasons than not for choosing Nobara. And honestly, just my preferences. I want an easy distro, but one that you can actually change and make your own instead of, you know, doing that. Also, specifically, I use KDE because that's apparently the standardized version of Nobara. But you can also download GNOME. I don't know about Highland though. I don't know about Hyperland or Hippieland or... There's probably some fucking shit. So, let's now finally get into what happened. So Saturday was the day I downloaded the app, pretty much. I downloaded it, and it was pretty good. That is, until it wasn't. So, me trying to install this, so I enlisted the help of ChatGPT because I really didn't know what direction I should have taken, and I don't know what was going to be in Nobara that I needed to, like, prepare for ahead of time. But, you'll learn very quickly, ChatGPT sometimes fucks you right up the ass cheeks. Right up there.
Right! Brandon! You banned! Dickhead!
So ChatGPT told me to make a partition in my C drive. So, before we move on, C, D. If I point here, this is what it means, because it's literally how I configured it in here. So they wanted me to create a small little partition. If you don't know what that means, it's a small little section of the whole. So they wanted me to put a partition inside of my thing and install it from there, so that way I can dual boot, which was my initial plan. However, after telling me to do that, it told me to create a new partition table. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's uh-oh territory, and that erases your whole thing and makes it the partition table. The whole thing. And so I went through with it, luckily on the wrong drive, because booting back into Windows, all my games had disappeared. My game drive, D, gone. Erased. No more there. And so I told ChatGPT, I was like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? And they're like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have created a new partition table. I'm like, what the fuck you on? So then I wanted to, like, restart, so I merged partition tables together. Ooh, that was not a good idea. So if you don't know how to boot Linux or how this stuff works, essentially what you do is you use a bootable drive, so like a flash drive, this exact one, which funnily enough is green for Linux. I use this drive and I run it through a software called Rufus on Windows, so that it makes this drive bootable. And I use a tool called Mini Tool Partition Wizard, also on Windows, that allows you to basically configure file size and partitions and whatever, recover data, yada yada yada. So I tried to merge my, I don't know why I grabbed it, C drive. I grabbed my C drive and I tried to merge this little partition back into like the bigger chunk, but not the really big one, because you'll always have smaller partitions inside of your drive. That's why your storage is less than you think. Oh, that was such a shit idea. Oh, I don't even know how it failed, but it failed. So now I was in a position where I couldn't even boot into Windows because I just merged my partitions. Apparently that fucked over the Windows files, even though it shouldn't even be on the big partition table anyway. So now I was trying to like fix it. And that was essentially what I was trying to do the whole time, pretty much. Sunday rolls around, it's Mother's Day, I went out for dinner with my family, but boy howdy, I was trying to fix Nobara as well, because I don't know why I moved on, because I literally couldn't even boot into Nobara. So there's this like terminal thing called grub. If you see something when you install Nobara that says grub, that's a big red flag. Huge red flag here. Because that means it couldn't even find the fucking files. And so ChatGPT was leading me down a fucking dark path all of Sunday and was attempting to like basically make me use grub to get into my drive when that wasn't gonna work. So literally I would have been better off if ChatGPT was like, boot the fucking thing again, man. And I was like somewhat getting into them a little bit, but I was also trying at the same time to fix my Windows partition. The Sunday was basically just God help me please day. Monday was the day I actually got into Nobara, and that was actually kind of good, but most of Monday was me trying to install apps and was trying to, of course, get my Windows back, and because I was working on so many fucking videos. But also, I did download some games onto here. So, I think I downloaded 3 games. I downloaded GTA 5, Hades, and Peggle, I think. And I'm not gonna tell you how good it went, because I kind of want to save it for when I'm recapping. I will say though, they didn't run bad. They didn't run half bad. Tuesday rolls around, pretty much just a blah day. Like pretty much what I was describing earlier. Pretty much was just trying to get my Windows partition back and all the files inside of it and yada yada yada. However, I think on Tuesday I tried to download Windows again, hoping that like Microsoft Save software would help me. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it didn't. It really didn't. So now I was basically doing overtime trying to fix that shit. Yeah, Tuesday was pretty blah, but this is a really key moment here. Nobara 42 release. So there's different versions. I was trying to download Nobara 41 the days before. Nobara 42 came out on the 13th. So Tuesday while I was trying to work. Keep that in mind for Wednesday. Wednesday rolls around and I boot into my PC and where's all my data gone? All my data's just disappeared. In fact, some of the apps I installed through Flatpak just disappeared. And I can't reinstall them. What's the deal? Oh! You know what the fucking deal was? Nobara 42 release! Apparently, when it tried to reboot it up into 42, it just fucked me. And so I got fucked, essentially. So now I was trying to download I was just trying to download 42 now, because it fucked me. And the reason I reinstalled Well, it's because I can't even install anything. I can't install the apps I need to install, so I have to literally go back and just, you know, like rework stuff so I can get my Windows partition. And if I'm not mistaken, that was like halfway through the thing, because I think I don't need to really explain what happened back here. Like, not really much to say, just working on Windows. So mid to late day, I was trying to fix my Nobara. Now, I did make a big mistake though, which this is now Thursday. Thursday is the day
the music died.
So there's a lot of reasons why Thursday was just a dead day, like the death day essentially to Windows. So what happened, I was trying to so if you don't understand, my C and D drive physically are the exact same thing. It's Samsung 970 Evo Plus. Am I even right? I don't even know. Yeah, Samsung 970 Evo Pluses in my PC. So these drives have the exact same name, but the difference, obviously, when you're using Windows, CD, okay? I didn't know that, and so one of these attempts trying to do it in the morning, I just hit my C drive with a fresh install, which means all my files have disappeared. They're officially dead. They weren't there before. Now they're dead. They're not ever gonna come back. Which was like the biggest hit in the gut ever. Like, that hit so painfully because I was working on so many videos that now I have to like redo, and I'll probably have to preface those videos by saying like, oh, it's the Linux incident of Thursday. And God help his soul, ChatGPT really did actually try to help me as best as it could to try to get my shit back. It just didn't work most of the time. It's kind of like ChatGPT really isn't helpful in these types of scenarios, and so after a bit of consolidating and like him explaining stuff like file sharing to me, which if you don't know, you create a partition that you put in there and share and go up. I actually thought it was going to be different. Like the way ChatGPT was putting it, like if I have a Linux file down in D, I could just have it here and C can read this. But apparently that's not how it is. Which to me was a red flag, because if I have to create a partition to share from, I have files that are like beyond so many, like beyond my fucking storage capacity. So I have to create a partition that blocks out my main home partition, so I can barely even download games or anything. So it's just like, fuck off Windows, I don't care about you no more. Because having you is dreadful. It will make me dreadful for my storage and trying to share shit with you. Like, that would be literally impossible. So that's why Windows is dead on Thursday. Essentially, I fucked up, erased all my files, and so I'm now officially on Windows. Don't ever catch me saying that ever again. Okay, if you notice I say that again, I want you to come over to my house with an AK-47 and shoot me in my goddamn head. That's on God. I'll let you do that. God ain't gonna care. So Friday pretty much was me trying to get basically an assembly of what I was using before and trying to reset stuff and trying to figure out how to get like my game drive onto here and then, you know, use that as my Steam location, if that makes any sense, because it's not like Windows where it just reads it, right? You kind of have to like finagle it just a bit. But also on this day, I was gaming a bit more, so more GTA, more Hades. I think I played Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, which I'll talk about later. Honestly, by the way, I didn't take the punch that hard, because I'm like, I could just restart, honestly. Like, I'm one of those people who are like psychopathic in the way that if you lose something and you're like, fuck, man, I can't even, this thing is just hurting me. I shouldn't even use this thing. I want to use Nobara more. It's fucked me, but I want to use Nobara more now. So Saturday was the day I was gonna make a video, but I just didn't feel like it. Because honestly, in my brain at least, I thought like, I was just like, dude, you can't upload a video when all you've been doing is reworking your Windows partition to come back. That's not gonna be good enough for a video. So, subconsciously at least, I gave myself more time to use Nobara and use it and work out what I think of it and stuff like that. So this is why it's been 2 weeks, not 1 week, so keep that in mind. Saturday, pretty much the same deal, just setting up Nobara, using it. I think this was more of a day where I was using it casually than any other day, because most of the other days were hard coding shit, and dear god I hated it. Sunday was pretty much the same, just playing games. I was getting more into it. Honestly, I don't think I was like fixing up Nobara as much. I was just like, I just want to use the app pretty much. And that's what Sunday through today pretty much is, besides the fact that today is, I'm making a video obviously, of just using Nobara, maybe you doing some projects which I'll get into and stuff like that. So it's not like hyper, like, this is important, I need to tell you about this. It's pretty much just, I played games. I played games, whether with my friends or myself, I played games. So, after all this time, 2 weeks, pretty much, what are my thoughts on Nobara? What do I think of Nobara? You know what? I like it. I like it. I even like it a bit more than Windows. Here, let me sit down so I can, because I'm gonna be using my desktop as well. So don't mind me. So what specifically makes Linux and pretty much Nobara different from any other Windows partition? Well, you have a lot of things. You got a lot of different tools, a lot of different things that, because I use Nobara, get pre-installed. So here, I'll show you one right here. So you can see that I'm on Steam, right? Also, cool thumbnail. Yeah, cool thumbnail, bro. Get this in the fucking thumbnail, bro. Also, can I show you some of these fucking wallpapers, by the way? So, based on this one, you can kind of tell it's AI generated. Pretty well, though, because it looks a tiny bit realistic. Then you got shit like... So, you got the Linux bird as a fucking killer robot with big stabby hands and like what looks like a gun right here. But it gets better. So my bro's got a one-handed AK-47. He's shooting lasers at this helicopter. This one you can tell way more that it's AI generated. Like, this is so obviously AI generated, but it's so funny. You got the Call of Duty wallpaper. I think this is gotta be my favorite. Just total death and destruction with these cute ass penguins here. Also, if you're a weeb, you got Nobara Weeb. Weebara. Yeah, that's the name, I forget. Honestly, smash or pass, I would. I would smash. I would smash that. But we're not here to talk about wallpaper. We're here to talk about Steam. Okay, we're here to talk about Steam. Let's say I'm in my library. I'm choosing one of my perfect games. I'm like, what if I want to play Fallout 4 today? You know, get my achievements done for this game. Available for Windows, but not Linux? What? Oh my god! And I'll just scroll through these really quickly. You can tell there are a lot of games. You'll see a mix of like Windows and Mac and just Windows, and you'll eventually see a game like this that has native Linux support. Or like, of course I have it installed. Because why wouldn't I have it installed? And yeah, you can tell like it's just not available on my platform. Not a lot of these games. Some of these games do, but you know. So what we do to change this is we go into settings, as I just did. You go down to compatibility, and there should be an option that says Steam Play, or god damn, I'm bad at speaking. Enable Steam Play for all other titles. And you're like, whoa, what is that? So what it does is, as you can see back here, also, if I spin my cursor around enough, I create a bigger thing.
Yeah, she said she doesn't like my cursor size. I'll show her that I have a big cursor. I'll show her one day.
Yeah, look how fucking massive that cursor is. Just in case you want to find it, you just do circles in a big motion. But back here, you have something called Proton Hotfix. And so what that is, essentially, is you have different gaming programs. Like, you have Proton, Wine, and like some other variants, essentially. But Wine and Proton are the mains, right? And so when I restart, and I open this up again, which for some reason whenever it restarts on here it takes a hot minute. Yeah, after restarting, let's go through my favorite games again. Let's see what we got. Hallelujah! 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 Look at even Fallout 4 that you literally just saw was only for Windows. I can now install and play. If I'm not mistaken, you can go check. Tattletales was one of them. Actually, let's go Quake Live. Why not? Because that was also one of them. So now I have Quake Live downloaded. So if I launch it right now, it'll eventually say Vulkan shaders are activating. Hopefully I'm not glitching out because usually this glitches out my thing. Hopefully not. So it'll usually always do Vulkan shaders. And here we are, in the game, literally. And if I just go into like the training center, I do elevated. Look at this. I'm now in Quake. I want to see if I'm so good at this, honestly. I am so shit. Okay, there we go, finally. That's 3. Oh, whoops. I'm not getting that height. My god, I'm so washed. I haven't played Quake in like a hot minute. But yeah, as you can tell though, it's running normally. Like, you're basically not experiencing any latency like I am. Oh my god, finally. Fuck me. But it's basically just Windows. And that's because of Proton's software. What it does is try to convert, you know, how it would be inputted by Windows and essentially make an image that is readable to Linux, so it's actually able to play the game. However, there is a bit of a caveat to that, and that has to do with something called kernel level anti-cheats. Now, what kernel... This is the way I would like to explain it. Imagine your neighbor came into your home, and they were like, hey, I noticed your pipes were very shit, you know? Your pipes are really bad. I need to work on these pipes, man. That's what kernel anti-cheat is. It's trying to come into your home, aka your operating system, and work on the pipes, like all your files and stuff like that. To make sure, obviously, that you're not a cheater, I'm gonna look into your files, your IP and whatnot, and try to, you know, not make sure you're cheating. I love that I just said the opposite. I don't care. However, kernel level is what I like to say above kernel. So basically, if I'm using Linux, now the pipes that I had are now ferrets. All in like a weird human centipede type thing. And they're just spewing water into my system. My neighbor would probably be like, the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you got this ferret? What the hell is... What have you been doing, man? How did you get this? And so it really can't navigate as well as with, you know, normal stuff on Windows. So a lot of games like Valorant or GTA Online or League of Legends, they are not going to be able to run because they don't got the support for these pipes, these weird ferret pipes that should really be questioned and probably be sent to PETA in some way or another. So a lot of online games that you have might not work, and you have to really think, how do you get around that? Because that question is basically rhetorical, seeing, you know, it's the game devs. They're gonna choose what is anti-cheat and what's not anti-cheat. Which brings me to this. So if you use, if you're using Linux in some way, you can just go on to, are we anti-cheat yet? And this is a website that essentially tells you if you're able to run this game based on anti-cheat. So as you can see, you got Halo Master Chief Edition. That's supported pretty well. They even got notes for you, like all modes enabled with mirror caveats, or single co-op and custom matches work. Then you got denied, which obvious. Running means might run into some issues here and there. Like, for example, make sure to check recent updates. The game is known to break often, and the status may not update to reflect that. That's essentially what running is. You can run it, but you need a little bit tweak it in case it fucks up. And then you got broken, which is just broken. But what is their definition of it? Games that will not run online due to the deployed anti-cheat solution. And then planned is exactly what you think it is. It's just planned. It's gonna be maybe getting support. And you can essentially see like what games, like online games you could play using this software. And what I notice is a lot of the games I like to play online are not, like, they're not supported. That's how I'll say it. However, there is also another thing here that isn't really as talked about, and I think really needs attention brought to it if you're a Linux gamer. Certain third-party things on Steam, like game launchers, will not work. I'm saying not work as in they basically don't save for you or keep your data or anything. Which brings me to Ghost Recon. If I launch this game, which this will take a very hot minute, honestly not. I can just tell you essentially. I feel like it'll be too much effort to run this. So basically, the deal with Ghost Recon is that because it's using Ubisoft Connect and that doesn't support Linux, you really can't save any of your data. Unless you use a third-party tool like Lutris, which is pre-installed on Nobara, you basically will have to start from scratch again. Which, if you've seen my 24-hour stream, I played this entire game to its entirety, pretty much. And so, losing all that data, not good. So, even though Linux is kinda called the gaming OS, not really. What I can tell you though, I have actually seen a boost in my performance. So, first game I played was Rocket League on Nobara. Because I was wondering, because, you know, there's a different software for Epic games because Epic is greedy, so Heroic Game Launcher is the Linux version. So I want to see, based on using Wine, which is the other version of Proton, I wanted to see how Rocket League would run. And the first thing I noticed, because I don't know why they do this, but A, I fucking hate the tutorial. Because, oh my god, they make you redo the tutorial if you start up Nobara for the first time. And secondly, there is something off about this. There's something off. And that thing I was noticing was that it was significantly smoother. And so I checked the settings, and sure enough, on high settings on 1440p on Windows, I would usually have gotten 180 frames, okay? Now, all of a sudden, I'm getting 210. I was like, what the hell? And so I tried another game, GTA, and I saw it boost in my performance there as well. On like the highest settings, I would a little bit struggle. I would be like 60 FPS. But now, all of a sudden, I'm running 120 at the minimum. Now, I didn't really see too much of a difference in Ghost Recon, at least trialing this out. Ultra, unless you have a 4090, is probably gonna run on like barely below 60. Because it is so hard to run that game. But hi, I did notice a difference. It was about 50 on high, but now it's on 75. So there is a boost there. So it is good to run Linux as a gaming OS, right? You can claim that Linux might be causing this, especially Nobara with NVIDIA graphics cards and using that. But realistically, you have to pick your battles really well. So, you know, I'm seeing performance boosts on my 4060 card on Nobara 42. You know, if you install Linux Mint, you might get fucked, honestly, because, you know, there isn't too much support for NVIDIA cards at this moment. Besides, I want to believe Nobara might be one of the few exceptions. And with the added great bonus of having to worry about anti-cheats unless you play a specific game like Marvel Rivals, for instance, where you can run the game pretty well, or, you know, BattleBit Remastered where you can run it pretty well. If you play any other game, you might be fucked. Which is one of my downsides for using Linux, is that people call it basically the Wild West of OSs, and like, you have so much freedom. But in some ways, I do kind of think if you have to go out of your way to go buy an AMD card when you're a NVIDIA user and like replace your whole graphics card that you got on Christmas for $300 and yada yada yada, you know what I mean? And you can't even play games that you want to play. Not that free, I'm gonna be honest. But if you're in my camp, you play mostly single player games and you're not really grinding out online games like all the time. Pretty fucking good, honestly. Which I would like to bring your attention now, not to Steam, but to the terminal. So, the terminal either might be your best friend, or your worst enemy, depending on who you are as a person. Me personally, I like this thing called console for KDE Nobara. So what this is that you put a command in, it'll attempt to do an action and do stuff. So you can do anything from download softwares to updates to even creating files, which I'll show you creating files and downloading. So let's say, for instance, I want to install, I don't know, I'm gonna go OpenShot because I use OpenShot probably this video. I would probably first off put sudo dnf install OpenShot, which I feel like this shouldn't really be scary, but I feel like some people would be really scary. So what this is essentially saying is like, basically, sudo is give me admin control, essentially, if you really want to think in Windows terms. DNF is my main directory. Like, generally, just go look for this file. What I now want you to do is install said file with this name. So, OpenShot. You can do this for pretty much anything, like sudo dnf install Discord, sudo dnf blah 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 blah, right? I'll just go dnf this. It asks for your password, which you set in your starting thing. And look, it's already found OpenShot, essentially. Now, if I press yes, it's probably going to say that I already have it. Or it's just going ahead and installing it. Even though I have it already. Maybe it's like an update. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it's already done. Now this might look scary, but what it's essentially doing when I said Y up here is just, hey, I found this big old package here full of shit, right? Do you want me to actually install this thing? And it's very straightforward. It literally says, after this operation, 180 bytes, I'm gonna just go bytes, extra will be used. Install this, and no bytes will be removed. So then, once I say yes, it just does it. And it will say complete. So, I updated my OpenShot without even realizing it. Now let's say I want to do Telegram, for instance. I don't know why. No, I do know why. So there's this thing called FlatHub, essentially. So basically what FlatHub or Flatpaks are automated updating softwares, essentially. They'll update themselves, pretty much. So if we go into here, we go into the most popular, we scroll down, you saw some OBS, Discord, and then I don't know why they're like the most popular apps are just shoved in the middle. So you got stuff like Google Chrome, Firefox, Brave, Steam, Spotify, Sober, which is the variant of Roblox launcher, which is honestly better than the original. VLC, which you might need to download on Nobara, Heroic, GIMP, Lutris, you know, stuff like that. I swear to God, Telegram was somewhere here. Okay, for the sake of it, let's just say it's right here for some reason. So, I could just go here and press add, right? I could just add this right now and I'll have it, right? But what I could do instead is sudo flatpak, aka go in the FlatHub and go find this, install Telegram. And it will show this. It'll show two options, FlatHub or FlatHub Beta. I usually always go for just the initial. Then it will say like, oh, which one would you want to install? And I'll probably go one here. Just telling me what I'm installing, the size of it, where I'm getting it, stuff like that. It's now installing. And installation complete. It basically done the actions. So now if I look up Telegram, oh my god, it's right there. Oh my god, I can just launch it? Okay, it's literally just disappeared. Let's just act like it's there. Oh my god, Telegram? Oh my god, like I'm on the login page probably? Oh my god. But that's not all, my child. You can install anything pretty much using this, but you can also create files. So like mkdir home Cairo. What do I put? Roberts porn. Now let's just go Robert porn. Why not? So basically what this is saying is create a file, or you could obviously read this as make a file in home Cairo and name it this. That's why like the end part is like obviously a non-existent file I probably have, unless no, I'm kidding, unless. So once I press enter, it doesn't really do much, it just moves you to the next thing. However, if I go into my files now, where is it? Here. You now have Robert porn in my thing. And it's a completely empty folder with nothing in it. Yet. So you can basically make a file fucking anywhere. But not only that, I also wanted to try making a sausage arts. So if you don't know what these are, they're like characterized art things. Whenever you're in Twitch chat and you just see a big old fucking Megamind probably saying, no bitches. That's probably a saucy art. That's just like very large scale and probably copied and pasted into your chat. And you could do these for your terminal as well. If I just open up a new tab and I put in C Matrix. Boom. We now have the Matrix. I am hacking, guys. Oh, I'm a real Linux user. Now, for a couple days, I have been working on a project trying to make a yin and yang sign type of saucy animated art thingy. At first, I was trying to make it spin, like spin around, and in every cycle, I got like a new prompt. Oh god, me and ChatGPT are not good together. Yeah, brace yourselves when I do this, by the way. So I'm grabbing probably the worst example of this ever, because this is honestly the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. So I put Python 3, Cairo, yin, prototype3.sci, aka a Python file, which this one's this. And dear fucking god, it looks, I literally said to ChatGPT not to be mean, it's like God fucking strangled him and then fucking forgot about him. This is exactly what this is right now. And yes, this is an attempt to actually spin the fucking thing around, like in a circle like this. It just doesn't like it. So because it was apparently becoming too much of a problem, right? I instead said, essentially, hey, could you please go and make a Saturn type of thing? You know, like PewDiePie's thing, and just, you know, do that. And it tried, but, and this is a lot better than the last one, but it's honestly the best version I've got of what I'm thinking. So as you can see, not really Saturn. It's like very 2D. It's doing its job. Like every cycle, it's giving me a new thing. Like balance is something you find. It's something you create. Darkness and light coexist to form the whole. You know, stuff like that. But it's not 3D. Which, it's not going like this. Or even if you want to be fancy, like this. It's not really doing that, right? So, slowly but steadily, I'm working on it. Which, if you're a really fast typer, this is honestly really good. Like, you can just simply do this and then you know, I now have OpenShot installed. I don't even have to wait for the system to load, go find the thing. I can literally press enter right now and it would already be done, pretty much. And I've barely even scratched the surface of what you can probably do on Nobara and how simple it is and how honestly sleek it looks, by the way. Like, look at this, like, wallpaper thing. It looks so much more cleaner than Windows, especially those stupid ass people who put the goddamn icons on this side and just keep all the fucking shit on the... Why are you doing this? If you're one of those goddamn people, I want you to go stab yourself. Why do you do that? Just go put it in a start menu or on your taskbar. You don't need this. But it does remove all the bloat. Like, there's no pop-ups, no ads, no nothing. Just an OS. And if I did install a plugin that was like Task Manager and I looked at it, it would not be bad at all. Like, it would be really good. It also makes things like just installing drivers so easy. Like, literally right now, boop, 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 can just install the drivers right here if it ever updates. And these are NVIDIA ones. I could just get NVIDIA stuff and, you know, use NVIDIA products here and update them. Perfectly alright. And the cool thing as well, you don't have to at all update your system. Like, if you want to wait on your schedule to go update something, you can just type this in. I probably typed it in wrong. Yeah, I can type in this. It'll run a command. You'll either see like system updates, Flatpak user updates, or system updates, right? And here, like, Telegram just appeared, which I didn't really expect. I thought nothing would show up, honestly. And you can, like, install, you can repair, you can check for more updates and stuff like that. It's so fucking simple, and you don't have to actually update the system. You know, like, live. So Windows doesn't have to come over to your house and kill you. And to be completely honest, as well, Linux is just full of people who love you, essentially. Like, you don't see Adobe or Epic Games and stuff like that. And that's basically my theory. It's just like, good people work on Linux. Not all the time, as you can obviously, Spotify is down here. And Spotify is notorious for being a very bad boy for paying out people. And even good companies like Rockstar aren't like putting online support for, you know, their online GTA games or Red Dead Redemption Online and stuff like that. But honestly, a lot of good working people do this. And while I was updating the 42, I got this prompt here from KDE. And one of the things that really struck me when I read this was, Plasma is a free open source desktop environment created by KDE, an international software community of volunteers. And I was like, hold the fucking phone. You're telling me people are just working on this software pretty much for free? Just volunteering to create a better OS than Windows? Like, fuck yeah. If I would pay for a service like this. This looks like, I'm looking at this gecko fucker, and I'm like, I want to pay for you. You're $19.99. I would pay for you. But again, a lot of the bad apples that you would see on Windows that you're kind of just like, I don't want to use you anymore. Like Adobe with Photoshop or Premiere or whatever. Like, just paying that subscription over and over again. You don't see that. And you even have alternatives like GIMP and DaVinci Resolve, which, God help me, I don't know how to fucking use it. I don't know how to use GIMP. I'm a come clean to you guys. The way I create my thumbnails normally is through Paint 3D. I'm a come clean. Because all I do is I use OpenShot's frame saver, which is honestly an amazing feature. And I just I just crop it and put it to 720p. Okay, I don't need all the fancy stuff like GIMP or Adobe Photoshop send me. I just need the crop and do shit. But that was one of my initial thoughts, was like, would I even want to have the stuff that's banned, like Valorant or, you know, Adobe Premiere? Not really. I'm not gonna need that. And you know, I already use OpenShot, which is already open source, as you could probably imagine. I don't really need the alternatives. I would be fine otherwise. But seeing, you know, the support Linux is getting, especially recently, like yesterday, I'm not shitting you, SteamOS just dropped, so anything on your handheld, this is not handheld, but I don't care, treat it like such. Like a handheld, now you can have, you know, SteamOS. You could just install it. If it came with Windows, doesn't matter, just install SteamOS because it's much better. Which will probably, in the future, cause other companies to, you know, have to rush to get SteamOS access. Some games unlike, because Apex Legends removed support for SteamOS because security concerns. Meh. You still got fucking cheaters in your game, mate. It's literally just the same as Windows, which sounds just like, why are you even saying this as a benefit? Like, wouldn't I not want it to be Windows? No, you do want it to be Windows. You want it to be like Windows. You want it so it feels the same, if not just a bit better, which is exactly what Nobara is for me. I got Firefox from 41. They actually recently changed it to newer versions. If you download Nobara, you have you now have Brave, which is a different thing. But I brought up the home computer thing. I use Firefox as my main thing, even as far back as when the logo actually looked fucking realistic and there was a fox looking at the world type shit. I think it was 2009. I think. But I might have also saw 2004. I really can't tell too much of a difference, but I think it's this one maybe. But yeah, I've been using Firefox. I just haven't used it for over a decade. Oh, well over a decade. But what I will say, Firefox is, you know, getting a lot of flack for what seems like they're selling data to people. But they're mostly rumors right now, and I want to say, like, if it does come out that they're selling data, I am probably going to move to Brave, but for the moment being, I don't have an issue with it right now because it's rumors, obviously. It could be false, and, you know, I don't really care, honestly. I'm just riding the fucking wastelands right now. Yeah, it's not exactly gonna be like Windows, obviously. I don't got certain things that I had on Windows, but even with those alternatives, I really do like the platform, honestly. I have basically most of the functionality I really need out of an operating system, and more. It gives me benefits for using Nobara over Windows, and so not having that bloat, not having to deal with much else, and, you know, just having a clean experience is what I'm looking for. I want it to be like Windows, but just a little bit better. That's exactly what I'm getting. Like, even if it's the reason I've got all my Windows files shut down, and, you know, I don't get a lot of the shit I would get on Windows, and some of those certain freedoms, I still feel more free than I would on Windows, and that's honestly what speaks to me. Which, speaking about me, what about you? Should you become a Linux bird? Here's what I'll say. Because I'm not selling anything. I'm not promoted by Nobara. I'm a free agent right now. What I will say is, again, if you play a specific game and like you don't really mind the ads, you don't really mind the bloat as much. And I was gonna say something. Fuck. Oh, and if you are willing to pay for it and not pirate it, then honestly, Windows will be alright for you. Alright? Like, if something's limiting you in your decision to move to Linux, then don't at the moment. Like, you don't really need to rush into stuff. But if you are willing to compromise, do the fucking installation correctly on an actual spare SSD or something like that. Honestly, Linux might be better for you. Like, it's better for me in some ways. Especially, again, with the cost. Like, I joined at the perfect time, essentially. 2025 so far is looking like the Linux year, and I joined exactly when I needed to. What with Nobara just updating and, you know, SteamOS coming out and more functionality coming to Linux, I joined at the perfect time, and I'm not really regretting it that much. Plus, I don't think you can see, but over there, my laptop is Windows 11, so I don't even lose Windows 11 technically, because I can't even install Linux on that thing. It literally doesn't let me boot into it. So, me personally, I'm really liking Linux, and for the foreseeable future, I will probably be using Linux, and even for my brother's PC, I'm gonna probably try to save up money for and get him a PC that's capable of running GTA 6, so that, you know, because he's autistic and he really likes killing people out of habit, apparently. I'm more than thinking I should actually just get him AMD gear and then proceed to install Nobara, because it's gonna probably be much easier for him, even though it's, you know, the terminal and stuff like that. If I set up what he needs to have, then honestly, he's golden. He doesn't have to update or shit. He could literally just live la vida loca, man. He can ride Vice City like a bitch. TLDR, if Linux is not for you, it's not for you. It might bring support soon, but if you're willing to risk it and go into it because of your circumstances, Linux really fucking good for you. But you need to really do your research on what distro you're gonna go for, what your purposes for Linux are, and ultimately how you fucking install it right. Don't be like me and wipe out your whole Windows, okay? Please install it correctly, guys. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I feel like I should be way more confident than this. Yep, I'm shitting it right now.